Don't let your guard down. I guess that was a tad obvious.
So, let's real quick reset our lovely magic menu. It's been 5 years and I'm still using the same things. Now let's have a look at what we've picked up in the interim. We now have the Kusanagi, which, as you can already see, is a pretty substantial attack power increase from the Fate that we were using before. And the Transients. Not quite as substantial an increase. In fact, I think it's about the same, but it's a spear. That'll be relevant soon.
Enough horseplay.
The two new weapons that we've picked up are now part of Nier's repertoire, and they are both different from the one-handed swords that we've been using before. In fact, chances are very good I will not be using one-handed swords again. The two-handed swords that we have are very large, very hefty. You can see that they execute their attacks significantly slower than we're used to. But they are also very powerful. In general, they will be the strongest weapons in the game, simply speaking from sheer numbers. Although spears, I feel, have more utility. They are extremely awkward when used just for attacking, but their triangle dash attack, as demonstrated here, can carry you straight through most enemies and will usually allow you to maneuver quickly past them, through them, and around them without taking any damage, but still maintaining your attack. Two-handed weapons, as I said, are extremely heavy, deal a lot of damage, and are ideal for tearing off armor. Fantastic.
We've taken more casualties.
They just keep coming! We'll be attacked again unless we move.
Look at him! Look what they've done to him!
The Shades are even attacking the village now.
And armored ones, no less. This village of yours seems to be changing for the worse.
We didn't ask for this. It's all the Shadow Lord's fault. That one day changed everything.
5 long years.
It's been 5 years since they took my daughter. And I spend every waking moment searching for her. And I found nothing save heartache and despair. This world is winding down. Between the Shades and the Black Scroll, there won't be anyone left soon. But I don't care. My life now is hunting Shades, searching for information. Someday I'll find a clue that will lead me to the Shadow Lord. I believe that. I have to.
Hey.
Yeah.
We sure lost a lot of time with that.
Yeah.
So welcome to 5 years later. This is the second half of the game. Of note is the fact that if you have any side quests that you didn't complete by the time you're here, you're not going to. Nobody is waiting 5 years for you to bring them mutton. The only exception to this rule, as far as I'm aware, is your fishing quests, and apparently the boar quest. Otherwise, no dice. You're done.
I feel confident that the child still lives.
I know she's alive. She has to be. If she isn't.
And needless to say, the last 5 years have not been kind. Yona's gone. The Shades are much more aggressive. They've begun wearing armor, light-resistant armor, so they can function in sunlight without taking damage.
Hello.
They are much more numerous. And yes, they are stronger. This has disrupted hunting. This has made getting food significantly harder. The dogs are still around, though.
Huh?
I'd prefer not to walk so much.
Oh.
This woman is still here, but, not doing so hot. And Nier himself is not in great shape either.
How are things?
I don't know why the shades stop you from doing that. It's inside the village. The difference between Papa Nier 5 years earlier and 5 years now is a lot more subtle than what you're going to see with Brother, but you can see it. He's grayer, he's got more lines on his face, he's also missing an eye, which is never explained, but I'm pretty sure that it's exclusively done just to, just to show you how much the passage of time has hurt him. Now, I am afraid I didn't really get to show this off, but there is, generally speaking, a couple that are hanging out under this tree, and, well, that's not a couple anymore. So ever since the Shadow Lord finally decided to show his face, things have been getting worse, harder, more deadly.
Oh, you. Yeah, I'm kind of busy now.
And a lot more run down. Those jackasses who used to live in that house vacated a long time ago, so those people could move in. It's not much. Most of the animals have survived, at least. But... And this guy here mentions that the air isn't doing so hot. I'm afraid that's a state of being, buddy. Nothing to do with the shades. And the postmen are falling behind. Dear God. But there's a cat. Sometimes he flips over and let you see his belly. And what about here? Tavern's missing one of its patrons. The kids that used to play with the dogs are dead. Nier's kind of losing it. And on another note,
Why am I the only one working this hard?
Ah, hush.
Man, I'm bushed.
See, that guy's working hard, too. The other thing to note is that the color palette has changed. Whereas the village used to be extremely bright and cheerful, it is now in a perpetual state of overcast. It's not a major alteration, but it is enough to give you at least some subconscious sense that things are different now. quick little edit there. I was trying something out, and then I forgot how to open menus. And, well, it took about 10 minutes, and it accomplished nothing, so you don't need to see it. Anyway, if you reach this point, as you can see, there's even a little thing for uncompletable quests. And our current status. Between the Knave of Hearts fight and now, we've gained 3 levels, which doesn't sound substantial, but it makes a massive difference when you suddenly have about 3,000 more HP. Having taken this tour of the town, we are finally ready to see what Popola wants from us. Also, Kaine's modern art installation is still going strong. This letter. This letter. I love everything about this letter. So, obviously, Nier has taken it upon himself to watch over the village, basically single-handedly since then. The only times when he leaves, basically, are to go to the other villages to look for information. This isn't pertinent, really, except for what I am about to spend the next 5 minutes telling you about. Obviously, we just got a letter from Emil, which would suggest heavily that we should go and visit him. I will not be doing this. Not immediately. Instead, I'm going to go in a rather opposite direction. And pluck some grass. And run off to the facade. While I'm running out to facade, I would like to explain to you why I love that letter. I've made a lot of points, mostly in the text posts, that Nier does this thing where it shows rather than tells. Which is pretty impressive because we aren't even dealing with a book, which is where the main culprit of telling usually happens. But a lot of video games have this tendency, which you don't notice, usually, just because it's so ubiquitous, where they will tell you everything that you need to know. Which is fine, but it gets a little annoying. When you wind up having cutscenes that are 15 minutes long because the characters are trying to explain 17 different things 3 times each, it winds up becoming very... I don't want to use the word annoying again, but it's the best one that I've got right now. It's redundant. It's unnecessary. But what Nier does instead is shows you something, and then lets you draw your own conclusions. Like that letter, in most other RPGs, would have been you going to a meal and then having like a 5-minute conversation about what that letter said. And what that letter actually said, without having to say anything, was that Nier has been visiting this poor kid for the past 5 years. He's basically adopted him as a son. The two have developed a rapport. You can see that they probably have some kind of in-joke, which is referenced by Emil when he says, "Is Vice still using big words to make people feel dumb?" And they've been trying together to find this cure for kinase petrification, and eventually worked their way up to what Emil says he found some information. They haven't visited in a while, as you can tell by him saying, "Sorry, I haven't spoken so long." But in a while, in the sense of maybe a month or two, not in the sense of it's been 5 years. You get all of that from that first paragraph in that letter. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go buy the best weapon in the game. There we go. Just take a quick look at what we picked up. The Captain's Holy Spear, which is a significant improvement over anything that we have right now. And is, I believe, another Drakengard weapon. And the Phoenix Spear, which is not a Drakengard weapon, a significant improvement over anything we have right now, and possibly the single best weapon in the game. It is not the most powerful, but it is the most useful. It is very easy to get, as you see, and it's basically going to be sticking with me through the endgame. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This showing thing even relates to me talking to these facade people. As you can see, when Nier approaches them, they begin to do their as per the rules spiel, but then stop and say, "Oh, it's you!" Like there's a familiarity there. Aw. There's a legitimate familiarity there. It's been a while since he's been here, which is why they don't recognize him immediately. But once they do, they fall into that old familiarity, as you can see by them kind of fudging the rules and not actually expressing their intent the way it seems like they need to. That's kind of heartening. Anyway, they have this familiarity, there's a rapport there, again, which suggests that he's been back and forth to Facade a lot. Well, not necessarily a lot, but at least regularly. And this isn't linked to the fact that, you know, he saved their king and the people of Facade always remember their debts. There's an actual familiarity and friendship going on between him and the item keepers. Including the Strange Things store guy who specifically says, "Oh, sorry, our stock is lower than before." Implying, obviously, that Nier's been going there and, you know, buying things from him. Anyway, that's my big speech right now. My other big speech is, I hate scorpions. How did I hit every one on the way back? So anyway, this is something that's going to become more prevalent in the game. It's going to feed us information in this kind of roundabout way. So it's something that you cognize on a subconscious level. Like, you know, the first time I did this, I read that letter and I knew that's what had been happening for the past 5 years. That Papa Nier's been basically sublimating his paternal instincts to Emil now that Yona's gone. But it didn't really click as like a conscious thought. Until, you know, I began discussing it with people. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate, that the game never goes out of its way to try and talk at you about things It presents you with enough information that you know what you're doing, and that you know what it's trying to say, and then assumes that you're smart enough to get it. This is honestly one of the main problems that I tend to have with an RPG, JRPGs especially, that they prefer to talk at you, so I really have a great appreciation for Nier doing this. Meanwhile, I took a moment to kill this poor boar because, you know what, I'm not entirely sure why. The goat had it coming, though. The goat always has it coming. Quick swing by the mailbox to heal myself. And we can now head out. We are thoroughly over-equipped. We are ready to handle anything that comes our way. We have a spear that has little wings on it. Let's go.